A Dalton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants her.
Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
If I were to discover that the leader of my town was embroiled in such a series of scandals and allegations, it would undoubtedly stir up a whirlwind of emotions, ranging from disbelief to outrage. This is precisely the situation unfolding in Dalton, Illinois, where the town's mayor, Tiffany Henyard, often referred to as the self-proclaimed super mayor, is facing a barrage of accusations and controversies that have turned her administration into a dramatic spectacle. The allegations surrounding Mayor Henyard are nothing short of shocking. For starters, the mayor is accused of embezzling millions of dollars, funds that were presumably meant to improve the community. These allegations paint a disturbing picture of financial misconduct, with public resources being misused for personal gain. As if that weren't troubling enough, Henyard's lavish lifestyle is under intense scrutiny. Reports suggest that she has thrown extravagant parties while the community's budget remains stretched thin, further fueling public frustration. But perhaps the most eye-catching element of Henyard's controversial leadership is her obsession with self-promotion. Over the course of her time in office, she has reportedly plastered her own image on banners, signs, and advertisements all over Dalton, making it nearly impossible to drive through the town without encountering a larger-than-life portrait of the mayor. Critics argue that this obsession with her own likeness undermines the integrity of her leadership and raises questions about the true priorities of the Henyard administration. For many residents of Dalton, these accusations have become the focal point of growing disillusionment. Once seen as a potential leader capable of driving change, Henyard now finds herself at the center of a political storm that has damaged her reputation and raised questions about her ability to serve the public. With residents demanding accountability, many are left wondering whether the mayor's tenure will be defined by these controversies, or whether she can somehow regain the trust of the people she serves. The situation is further complicated by claims of mismanagement and a lack of transparency in local governance. Public officials and citizens alike have raised concerns over her handling of town resources and decision-making processes, with some alleging that important issues have been ignored or mishandled, while the mayor continues to focus on personal gain and self-promotion. As the drama surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard continues to unfold, it serves as a reminder of the importance of transparency, ethics, and accountability in public office. The ongoing saga is a testament to the deep challenges that can arise when leaders prioritize their own ambitions over the needs and interests of the communities they are meant to serve. In short, the story of Dalton's super mayor is one that keeps getting crazier the deeper you dive into it. And for the residents of Dalton, it may only be a matter of time before the full extent of these scandals comes to light, with major consequences for Henyard's political future. Whether she can weather this storm or whether her controversial tenure will mark the end of her leadership in Dalton remains to be seen. What's clear, however, is that the fallout from these allegations will continue to make waves for the town for the foreseeable future.
South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard appears to have lost control of both.
The controversy surrounding Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard took a shocking turn when explosive new claims emerged, alleging that Henyard orchestrated the theft of more than $2 million in public funds, a revelation that has sent shockwaves through the town and beyond. Chris G., a local trustee and one of Henyard's most vocal critics, went public with these explosive allegations, accusing the mayor of funneling large sums of money meant for community development and essential services into questionable projects, private accounts, and shady contracts that appear to have ties to Henyard's close allies. According to Gonzalez, these funds were not only misappropriated, but some of the projects themselves don't even exist. To make matters worse, others are allegedly grossly overpriced, adding fuel to the fire of the accusations. If true, this would not just be an act of betrayal of public trust. It's a massive financial crime, one that raises serious questions about the integrity of Henyard's leadership and whether the people of Dalton were being actively exploited for personal gain. But the allegations don't stop at missing money. Henyard is also facing heavy criticism for allegedly splurging taxpayer funds on lavish personal expenses, further infuriating Dalton residents who already feel neglected by her administration. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who has since launched an investigation into Henyard's financial dealings, revealed that the mayor reportedly spent tens of thousands of dollars on luxury items, first-class travel, and even private parties, all on the taxpayer's dime. One receipt, according to Lightfoot, showed that Henyard allegedly spent over $30,000 in a single day on online shopping, further exemplifying the reckless disregard for public funds. Lightfoot didn't mince words, condemning Henyard's actions as a blatant misuse of public funds and a slap in the face to the residents of Dolton, many of whom are struggling with underfunded schools, crumbling infrastructure, and a lack of basic public services. The fact that Henyard was reportedly using taxpayer money for extravagant personal expenses, instead of addressing the pressing needs of the community, has only deepened the outrage felt by many in the town. The shocking allegations have only intensified the scrutiny on Henyard's leadership, with public trust in her administration continuing to erode at an alarming rate. As investigations into her financial dealings unfold, the people of Dolton are left grappling with a painful truth. The very person entrusted with their well-being may have been abusing their power for personal gain. The fallout from these accusations has ignited a fierce debate about corruption, accountability, and the future of Dolton's leadership. What began as whispers of financial misconduct has now escalated into an all-out public scandal, one that threatens to have far-reaching consequences for Henyard's political career and the
Let's point the finger to Tiffany or allow me. I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
As the scandal surrounding Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard deepens, even her former allies are now distancing themselves from her, adding yet another layer of chaos to the already turbulent situation. Carmen Carlisle, who once served as Henyard's assistant, has publicly severed ties with the mayor, describing her former boss as reckless and untrustworthy. Carlisle, who worked closely with Henyard for some time, revealed that her disillusionment grew as she witnessed how decisions were being made behind closed doors, often without consulting trustees or adhering to proper procedures. This lack of transparency and accountability ultimately led Carlisle to speak out against Henyard's leadership. Joining the growing list of critics calling for Henyard's resignation, Carlisle didn't hold back in her condemnation, stating, "This isn't leadership, it's a circus," and adding that the people of Dolton deserve far better than the chaotic and reckless management they've experienced under Henyard. The growing discontent among Henyard's inner circle underscores just how fractured her support has become, as even those who once worked by her side are now calling for an end to her controversial tenure. But if you thought the drama couldn't get any worse, think again. Henyard's infamous banners have become the subject of even more outrage. Picture this: massive, oversized signs plastered across the streets of Dolton, each one featuring Henyard's face, along with the words "Super Mayor." The banners, which have become a symbol of Henyard's self-promotion, have sparked public outcry. Critics argue that the signs represent a stark abuse of public resources, with the mayor seemingly more concerned with her own image than the welfare of the town she was elected to serve. However, the situation only gets more outrageous when you learn that the company responsible for creating these banners claims they haven't been paid a single dime. That's right, nearly $20,000 worth of banners, and the vendor is still waiting for their check. This revelation has raised even more questions about Henyard's financial management, particularly when it comes to how public funds are being spent. If the mayor can afford to splurge on lavish personal items and extravagant parties, how is it possible that a basic vendor payment has gone unfulfilled? In what could only be described as a brazen attempt to protect her image, Henyard reportedly became furious when workers acting on orders from opposing trustees began taking the banners down. According to reports, Henyard called the police, demanding that charges be filed against those removing the signs. In police body cam footage, she can be heard urging officers, "Press charges on them. They're taking government property down." At first glance, one might assume this was about protecting government property, but it quickly becomes clear that this was more about protecting Henyard's inflated ego. The whole debacle raises serious questions about the mayor's priorities. Is she truly concerned with the well-being of Dolton, or is she more focused on safeguarding her own public image? The banners, largely seen as a symbol of vanity and self-promotion, now stand as a powerful symbol of the mayor's reckless leadership. Instead of investing in the community or addressing the pressing needs of the town, Henyard seems to have poured energy and resources into boosting her own profile, regardless of the cost to the residents of Dolton. As the situation continues to spiral out of control, it is clear that Henyard's tenure as mayor is rapidly becoming defined by scandal, self-interest, and a growing sense of betrayal among the very people who trusted her to lead. What was once an administration filled with hope and potential is now a cautionary tale of how quickly power can corrupt, and how one person's desire for self-promotion can unravel an entire community's faith in its leadership.
NBC 5 News exclusive. There is more controversy for the mayor of Dolton tonight. Apparently, when she caught workers removing banners with her picture on them, she called police.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to envision how the situation in Dolton could spiral further out of control. Yet Mayor Henyard continues to outdo herself with each new decision. A prime example of this is her recent appointment of Ronald Burge, Sr., as the village's new police chief. This move has ignited a firestorm of controversy, with trustees and state officials raising grave concerns about Burge's qualifications. According to Illinois law enforcement standards, Burge does not meet the necessary legal requirements for the position. In fact, the agency that oversees law enforcement in the state has pointed out that Burge's certification is inactive due to missing paperwork and outdated training. Despite these significant obstacles, Henyard chose to move forward with the appointment, triggering additional legal battles and further fracturing the already divided leadership in Dolton. Trustees have gone so far as to pledge not to pay Burge, citing the illegal nature of his appointment as the basis for their refusal. As a result, the village is now faced with not only escalating financial turmoil, but also a deepening crisis in the leadership of its police department. This situation represents yet another chapter in a broader tale of mismanagement and dysfunction that seems to characterize the current administration in Dolton.
We talked to Tiffany Henyard's landlord, and she says she came to this Thornton Township meeting Tuesday night hoping to get paid what she says she...
In another shocking turn of events, Mayor Henyard is now embroiled in a legal battle of her own as she faces eviction from her home. Yes, you read that correctly. The mayor of Dolton is fighting to stay in the very residence she occupies. The situation stems from allegations made by her landlord, who once considered Henyard a friend, but now claims that she has not paid rent since August. The landlord further accuses Henyard and her boyfriend of taking drastic measures, including changing the locks and altering the garage code in an apparent effort to keep the property owner out, all while racking up thousands of dollars in overdue rent. Court documents reveal that eviction proceedings have already been initiated, with formal eviction papers filed against Henyard. However, reports suggest that the mayor has been intentionally avoiding being served the legal documents, a move that only adds fuel to the fire of public scrutiny. Given Henyard's six-figure salary, which is funded by taxpayer dollars, this situation raises serious questions and concerns about her financial management and accountability. It certainly adds yet another layer of controversy to an administration already plagued by legal and leadership issues, leaving many to wonder how the mayor can manage the affairs of the village when she's struggling with personal financial obligations of her own.
Henyard's landlord showed up here to see her tenant in person after she says Henyard has been dodging both her and rent payments for months.
Taking a step back to examine the broader picture, it's clear that the turmoil surrounding Mayor Henyard's actions is having a profound and devastating impact on the village of Dolton as a whole. The community is grappling with a staggering deficit nearing $3.2 million, and essential services, as well as critical community projects, are hanging by a thread. With every passing day, the village's financial situation grows more precarious, and the strain on local resources is becoming impossible to ignore. Residents are no longer willing to sit idly by while the village sinks deeper into crisis. Protests have erupted throughout Dolton, with many calling for Henyard's resignation. The growing discontent is fueled by widespread belief that Henyard's leadership has betrayed the community, as her alleged misuse of public funds has left vital areas, like schools, infrastructure, and public safety, in dire straits. Community leaders and activists are voicing their frustration, condemning the mayor for her apparent mismanagement and lack of accountability. One local activist summed up the collective sentiment perfectly, stating, "We work hard, pay our taxes, and trust our leaders to use those funds responsibly. Henyard hasn't just misused our money. she's stolen our faith in local government. This feeling of betrayal resonates deeply throughout the community, with residents feeling not only financially burdened but also disillusioned by a leader who they believe has failed to prioritize their well-being and future. The crisis in Dolton is no longer just about a budget deficit or administrative scandal. It's about the loss of trust, the erosion of confidence in local leadership, and the palpable sense of frustration among the people who are most affected by these ongoing failures.
She is endorsing a new board, but not announcing who they are just yet, instead promising to name them later this month. Henyard is under investigation by the FBI.
If you thought the drama surrounding Mayor Henyard couldn't get any more outrageous, think again. Despite the ongoing federal investigation into her actions, the mounting legal battles, and a growing wave of public outrage, Henyard is doubling down and announcing her bid for re-election. Yes, you read that correctly. She is asking the people of Dolton to give her another term as mayor. In a recent social media post, Henyard declared, "I am running for re-election for mayor of Dolton. The people know the truth, and I am committed to fighting for my village." However, her critics are far from impressed. Trustee Jason House, who is running against Henyard, has called her re-election campaign ridiculous, arguing that Dolton needs fresh leadership to pull itself out of the mess Henyard has created. Despite the mounting pressure and public dissatisfaction, Henyard remains resolute, claiming that she will be endorsing a new board to help lead the village. However, she has yet to announce who will be joining her, instead promising to reveal the names later this month. This has left many in the community skeptical, wondering whether her new board will truly bring the change they so desperately need. To make matters even more contentious, Henyard's administration is currently under investigation by the FBI, but that hasn't slowed her down. During a recent village board meeting, Henyard addressed her critics in a way that left many residents in disbelief. Referring to the citizens who had come forward to voice their concerns, she dismissed their frustrations, saying, "A lot of you come to this mic talking about nothing. That means you really are fans of mine, and I appreciate that." This brazen dismissal of legitimate concerns as mere fandom has become emblematic of Henyard's approach to governance, a tone-deaf disregard for the anger and disillusionment that her actions have sparked within the community. For many residents, it's a reminder of just how out of touch Henyard seems with the people she's supposed to represent. Meanwhile, things aren't looking any better on the legal front. The Illinois Attorney General has ruled that Dolton violated the Open Meetings Act by holding village gatherings in venues that were too small to accommodate the residents who wanted to attend. As a result of this violation, future village board meetings will need to be held in larger venues, giving residents more opportunities to confront Henyard directly and demand answers for the ongoing crisis in the village. In what should be a pivotal moment for the community, Henyard seems determined to stay the course, ignoring the calls for change and doubling down on her leadership despite the chaos surrounding her. But the question remains, will the people of Dolton continue to stand by a mayor who dismisses their concerns and appears to be focused more on her own re-election than on solving the village's pressing problems? With tensions continuing to rise, the coming months will likely reveal whether Henyard's audacity will be enough to secure her political future, or if the residents will demand the change they've been asking for.
Well, for the first time in many weeks, Dolton trustees and Mayor Tiffany Henyard held a public meeting together, but not at Village Hall.
Critics have also raised concerns about Mayor Henyard's focus on extravagant spending, pointing out that it seems to come at the expense of essential services for the residents of Dolton. Many neighborhoods in the village are plagued by persistent issues, such as broken streetlights, inadequate garbage collection, and neglected infrastructure. These shortcomings have left residents questioning how their hard-earned tax dollars are being allocated, as the services that directly impact their daily lives continue to fall short. Meanwhile, crime remains a pressing concern in Dolton, with trustees accusing Henyard of failing to provide effective leadership for the police department. They argue that her controversial decisions have left the department in disarray, undermining public safety and further eroding community trust. The frustration among residents is palpable, with one local resident expressing the sentiment at a recent village board meeting, saying, "We don't need a mayor who's throwing parties and putting her face on everything. We need someone who's actually going to take care of our streets and keep us safe." The question now is, where does all of this lead? Federal investigators are reportedly digging into Dalton's financial records, and a full forensic audit is reportedly on the table. If the allegations against Henyard are proven true, she could face severe legal consequences, including charges of fraud, embezzlement, or other criminal offenses. However, for many Dalton residents, the damage may have already been done. The trust between the community and its leadership has been irrevocably shattered, and rebuilding that trust will likely take years, if not decades. The ongoing crisis has left many questioning not just Henyard's ability to lead, but the future of Dalton as a whole. The village, once a place where people work together to build a thriving community, is now divided and struggling under the weight of mismanagement and scandal. As the investigation continues and legal challenges mount, the road ahead for Henyard and for Dalton remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: the need for change has never been more urgent.
But you don't even have a sense to even look in our face. But you rather just steal our money and do what you want to do.
The calls for an audit in Dalton are not just about holding Mayor Henyard accountable for her alleged wrongdoings. They're about uncovering the full extent of the damage that has been done to the village's finances. Some trustees are growing increasingly concerned that the problems already exposed may be just the tip of the iceberg, and there could be far more money unaccounted for than anyone has realized. The situation is so dire that even basic office supplies, such as paper and ink for village employees, have run out, further illustrating the financial strain the village is under. Recently, the village clerk admitted that vendors are now refusing to fulfill orders due to unpaid bills, leaving the local government struggling to function and fulfill its basic obligations. One trustee described the financial crisis as a ticking time bomb, warning that if the village's financial situation doesn't improve, Dalton could face even more severe consequences, especially if state and federal grants are suspended as a result of the ongoing investigations into Henyard's leadership. These grants are vital to the village's operations, and the threat of losing them could deepen the financial hole, making it even harder to recover from the mess that Henyard's administration has left behind. Meanwhile, public reactions to this unfolding drama have been just as fiery and intense as the events themselves. Many Dalton residents are voicing their frustration and disbelief at how the situation has been allowed to go on for so long. One commenter expressed their outrage on social media, saying, "I really don't know why that mayor hasn't been put in prison yet. What is the FBI doing dragging their feet? She needs to be in jail." Another added, "She should have to pay for those banners herself," referring to Henyard's apparent penchant for using taxpayer funds to promote herself. These sentiments echo the growing anger felt by many Dalton residents, and even outsiders, who are baffled at how someone with so many serious allegations against them has managed to remain in power. People are asking the same question over and over: how has Henyard been allowed to continue holding office? Why hasn't there been more accountability for her actions? The lack of transparency and the seeming inability to bring any consequences to bear on the mayor have only deepened the sense of frustration and disillusionment among the community. At this point, the question is no longer just about whether Henyard can continue her tenure as mayor. It's about how Dalton can ever recover from the damage done by her leadership. With ongoing investigations, legal battles, and the community in turmoil, the path forward remains unclear. What's certain, however, is that the people of Dalton are demanding answers, and until those answers are given, the questions will continue to loom large. The residents of Dalton are left wondering how much longer they can wait for accountability, and whether the system will ever provide it.
Seeking arrest for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges.
As the drama surrounding Mayor Henyard continues to unfold, one thing is crystal clear: this story is far from over. Will Henyard ultimately face justice for her alleged actions, or will she manage to cling to her position in the face of mounting scrutiny? What does this entire saga say about the state of local government and accountability? The questions keep piling up, and the answers remain elusive. The fate of Henyard's leadership is now in the hands of investigators, community leaders, and ultimately, the residents of Dalton. Will they continue to tolerate an administration mired in controversy, or will they demand the change they so desperately need? As more developments unfold, it's clear that the situation will only become more complicated. We want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Henyard should step down? Or does she deserve another chance to turn things around? Should she be held accountable for her alleged misconduct? Or should Dalton give her the benefit of the doubt as she fights to stay in office? The debate is far from settled, and the outcome of this story remains uncertain. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more updates on this wild and ever-evolving story. You won't want to miss what happens next as the drama in Dalton continues to unfold. We'll be keeping a close eye on every development, so stay with us for the latest updates on this high-stakes situation. As the drama surrounding Mayor Henyard continues to unfold, one thing is crystal clear. This story is far from over. Will Henyard ultimately face justice for her alleged actions, or will she manage to cling to her position in the face of mounting scrutiny? What does this entire saga say about the state of local government and accountability? The questions keep piling up, and the answers remain elusive. The fate of Henyard's leadership is now in the hands of investigators, community leaders, and ultimately, the residents of Dalton. Will they continue to tolerate an administration mired in controversy, or will they demand the change they so desperately need? As more developments unfold, it's clear that the situation will only become more complicated. We want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Henyard should step down? Or does she deserve another chance to turn things around? Should she be held accountable for her alleged misconduct? Or should Dalton give her the benefit of the doubt as she fights to stay in office? The debate is far from settled, and the outcome of this story remains uncertain. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more updates on this wild and ever-evolving story. You won't want to miss what happens next as the drama in Dalton continues to unfold. We'll be keeping a close eye on every development, so stay with us for the latest updates on this high-stakes situation.